Hey, it's Ken Kraetzer for Sons of American Legion Radio and RallyPoint.com. We're at Mikey Stadium today for the Army hosting Hawaii football game. And one of our friends out here today is a 39-year veteran of the United States Army, and that is Colonel James Wilhite. Colonel, good to see you. What's it like to be at West Point today?
Oh, thanks, Ken. It's absolutely an honor each time we come here to West Point. You get to see, without a doubt, the most enticing, fantastic, and intelligent young men and women in the nation. That's going to be our future leaders.
Very good. Now, you described joining the U.S. Army originally during the Vietnam era. Tell us about some of the highlights of your career.
Okay, I joined in 1965. I went to drill sergeant school in 1968 and 69, and then was assigned to the Drill Sergeant Academy for a total period of 10 years. Which was a phenomenal experience in getting to train young soldiers. Along with that time, after 12 years as an NCO, I was commissioned as a first lieutenant because I was too old to be a second lieutenant, and began my career as training officer through inspector general, battalion commander, and finally as a liaison officer for West Point.
That's amazing service to our country. Where were some of the places that your Army career took you to serve?
Fort Polk, Louisiana, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Fort Benning, Georgia, Fort Ord, California, Germany, a couple of times, and eventually into Afghanistan.
And you've written a book about your time in Afghanistan and about your service and the volunteer army that has been out on the front so often in the last year since 9/11. Tell us a little bit about the book that you put together.
Yes, this is actually a good news story about Operation Enduring Freedom. My mission over there was to build a 4-year university for Afghan students using the United States Military Academy at West Point as the model. I had no money, I had no full-time staff, and I had a 10-month mission window to work on it. And 10 months later, 115 kids walked on campus. Out of 352 that applied, 10 years later, the application numbers for applying to the academy was over 7,000, and we had over 3,000 students in the academy. 4 years after the academy was founded, women were admitted to that academy, which is unheard of in that country. It's a good news story, as I said. It was made into an award-winning documentary film called We Answered the Call. And I come here to West Point annually and do a book signing and share the story with cadets.
Well, that's terrific. What is the curriculum for the school that you put together or designed in Afghanistan?
We have degrees in political science, foreign language, civil engineering, electrical engineering, pre-law, pre-med, international relations, and aviation. When I was there, when I first got there, we did political science, foreign language, and civil engineering. Primarily, we wanted them to understand politics. We wanted them to be global through the foreign language, and these kids are the top 1% of the kids in the nation, so they come in speaking 3 to 5 languages already. And then on the civil engineering, we wanted them to get their civil engineering skills up because they can rebuild their country.
Very good, so important. And where would you like to see this project go in the future? It sounds like a great service that you have initiated in Afghanistan.
Well, the academy, just like anything else that goes on, it's given under the direction of the current leadership. Before we got to Afghanistan, it was their country. While we were there, it was their country. When we left, it's still their country. We planted the seed, we got the seed to grow, and it's up to them as far as the direction that it goes. But it's still thriving.
Well, I know a goal of the U.S. Army is to always leave a place better than when the Army arrived, and this is sort of a key indicator of that, something of lasting value for Afghanistan. Tell us a little bit, what have been some of the high points of your career in the Army?
Well, number one high point has been the individuals that I've served with. We just communicated here a couple of days ago on Facebook about all the people that we've worked with and told some stories about it, and it just warms your heart to be able to find people that supported you and worked with you. So it's the men and women that I've worked with is probably the biggest highlight. But I've had an opportunity to serve as Drill Sergeant of the Year twice. I've had an opportunity to lead and command and lead soldiers in some really phenomenal missions, and primarily be a teacher. That's what my goal is, and my life has been as an adult, has been that of a teacher. So I've taught from the Drill Sergeant School to Command General Staff College, and I've also trained my soldiers to where basically my philosophy was you will never be in a position to not get promoted from lack of education.
Absolutely, it's so important. We see that with officers all the time. Education is a constant part of their life in the Army. And great to see you. Tell us the name of the book and where it can be found.
Okay, the book is We Answered the Call, Building the Crown Jewel of Afghanistan. The film is We Answered the Call. The book is available at the Cadet Bookstore here at West Point, but it's also available online at We Answered the Call Film, all one word, weansweredthecallfilm.com. And the proceeds, when you purchase it online, goes to the Camaraderie Foundation and Folds of Honor. And I will personally sign the books if you order them that way.
Well, what a great job that is. Great to meet you, Colonel, and really best wishes and thank you for your service from everybody at the American Legion and the over 1 million veterans on rallypoint.com.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. Go Army. Beat Hawaii.
Okay, sir. This is Ken Kraetzer at West Point.